Hello, friends. Today I'm going to try something totally new, and I'm going to call this my sing along story time series to make it fun because I think this is what I want to do every once in a while to kind of tap into myself and heal. And I'm hoping that it can also heal you. I would love to hear your own stories. So please let me know what they are in the comments. But this is basically, I want to do a little deep dive for where some of my limiting beliefs come from. And one of them is, I think, perfect for this sing along. First, I'm going to tell you the story, and at the end, I'm going to do a little bit of singing to illustrate the story. And I'm hoping, if you enjoy it, that you'll sing along and maybe we can heal together. So, today's limiting belief is this idea, and I think that our limiting beliefs really come from our inner critic. And I don't know about you, but when we talk about the inner critic, we are focused on how does it activate within your nervous system. And you might be familiar with the different types of reactions, but when your nervous system is triggered, the sympathetic nervous system often has definable, pretty obvious reactions. Sometimes it's a mix, but they generally fall into fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. And when it comes to my limiting belief about singing, I definitely have one from childhood, and that ties into my story. And the point of this story is to try to teach myself and hopefully help other people to reclaim your story and to help us recalibrate our nervous system and go from the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn reaction to a parasympathetic activation where we can feel centered, calm, happier. And today, I hope a little bit of humor will help that process. So, let me go to how I was raised. If we're talking about our childhood, our caregivers have a prominent role in how we respond to life. And whether our caregivers had a fixed mindset or a growth mindset, it really changes how we react, doesn't it? Unfortunately for me, I had caregivers with an incredibly fixed mindset. They did not have a growth mindset. A little bit, maybe. I'll give them a little bit of credit for a little bit of a growth mindset, basically telling me things like, you can do better. But overall, very perfectionistic. I mean, I was raised like if you can get 100 on a test, but there's 5 points of extra credit available, why didn't you get 105 points? Like, you better get not just the A, but the A plus, that kind of thing. And of course, there was a dichotomy between acceptable career paths: doctor, engineer, attorney, which is what I ended up being, versus what I am really passionate about for creative writing and also music or art. There was a definite dichotomy and a different expectation, and also this overwhelming feeling like you can't do everything. So you better choose the one that is appropriate according to them. Otherwise, you won't feel love. So that's a lot of baggage to unpack. Um, but there, in a nutshell, is what I grew up with. And now, as a attorney on a creative journey, as I like to call it, I am really digging deep to honor my authentic self, which allows me to be everything. I reject the idea, the notion that I can only be one thing, and I'm embracing other aspects of myself, especially my creativity, and music is a large part of that. But I think it's funny how not only our upbringing, but our peers can impact that. And my limiting belief that stems from my perfectionism and how I was raised is that you cannot, like, this is the lie I tell myself often, you cannot put out music, you cannot be singing unless you are accompanying yourself with playing the piano. I have a big goal to want to play the piano better, but I'm much older now. I have a lot of things on my plate. I have two young kids. It's really hard to find time to practice. And I ask myself, why am I holding back on something I can do, like singing, like talking to you? Why am I holding myself back, telling myself I have to do so much more before it would be acceptable? And one of the ways I've done that is having a subtle belief limiting that I cannot put out a song unless it's accompanied by piano. I am rejecting that through my actions right now. I have put out a song that was a cappella and, just kind of dipped my toe in the water and shared it with one of the wonderful chats that are available um, through another newsletter. And I got a positive response, which was so healing because I've been telling myself this lie for so long and it's holding me back. And having even just one person welcome hearing my singing a cappella with no accompanying music and literally cheering me on. This is why I love Substack. And I've written extensively about the fact that community matters so much, especially when you've been hurt in the past. It heals you. And this is one person who wrote me and said that she would be there to listen to whatever I put out. And she even subscribed to me. She was like this cheerleader from who knows where in the universe. But my goodness, she was like an angel. Hearing that, it literally brought me to tears to think that even one person would want to listen. But anyway, I really, really appreciate her. I appreciate anyone who would want to listen to me. But anyway, let's go back to the story. I'm getting off topic a little. Sorry. I just wanted to make sure I thanked her and anyone else who reaches out. But let's go to the story. One of the formative things that happened to me as a kid that literally, if we're talking about a stress response, I would call this freeze because it stopped me. When I was young in grade school, we would have, like, me and my friends, just a few friends, would sing together whatever we liked on the radio. And we would put on little concerts, mini concerts. So there was me and like two other friends, maybe three other friends who would do this every once in a while. And we all enjoyed it. We all, it was a way for me to kind of like be allowed to perform without being by myself because I was really shy. And I felt so great being able to do that. I loved it so much. And then, so one of my friends in the group, she was a phenomenal singer. Like, she can really sing. She can do riffs and runs, and she has a really strong voice that I would say was far more mature than our age at the time. There's just some people who are born with it, right? And they just exude this confidence because of it. I was shy about my singing, but not so shy that I couldn't try. I would definitely sing with my friends, including her. So we were really quite close. And she had real serious ambition to become a professional singer, like to be a pop star. Everyone knew this about her, and she was very talented. So, I mean, there was no doubt in my mind that she had the ability to do it if she chose to do it. But it would be like most things, it's hard to make it, right? As a professional singer, as a pop star, you have to have the right connections, you have to do all that stuff. But anyway, getting back to the story, we loved doing this, and I was her really good friend. At one point, like, we always performed as a group, but at one point, I had a friend who asked me to sing by myself. And I was so painfully shy that we went into like the corner of the music room when no one else was around. And I closed my eyes and literally sang while she cupped her hands around her ear. Like, this is literally how shy I was, and I just sang a cappella for her, and I feel so grateful. She really loved it to the point where she told other friends, other classmates to come around, and one by one, these wonderful classmates sat next to me, cupped their ears while I sang really super quietly a cappella. And I remember, like, my heart was fluttering like crazy. I felt like I could feel the adrenaline going pumping through my body, and it felt crazy. It was just, like, really awkward, nervous, wanting to sing, sensing that my voice was shaky, but, like, because I was doing something I hadn't done before, singing to all these classmates one by one in such a personal way where I was by myself, nobody else was with me. Anyway, everyone did this in my class, and they went one by one, and I just felt so loved and accepted. And then came the point where my friend, who is a really good singer that we sang with all the time, I was used to singing with her, it came to her turn. And I really, valued her opinion because she's a phenomenal singer. She's really good. Why wouldn't I care? And she was also, I thought, my really good friend. We spent time together outside of school, that kind of thing. So she cups her hand, and she heard a lot of the friends like complimenting me, and they were all like, "Oh my God, come listen to Marissa." And it was just so heartwarming that I had such a high from feeling so loved and accepted. And like, oh my gosh, this is one of the first times I'm really putting my real self out there. I'm normally shy, and I'm sharing something that I really love with them. And I just remember the way she responded, it like it was like a knife in my heart because she literally said, "You sound like a goat, like a billy goat." And I was just like, wow. Like, there was no gentleness to what she said. She literally laughed in my face and said, "You sound like a billy goat." And it really hurt me. I knew back at the time that, okay, I know this isn't my best. I know I don't feel calm as I'm doing this. I can tell my voice is shaky. Like, maybe I really did sound like a horrible billy goat, but I know kind of why, especially now as an adult looking back. I can tell myself, you know what? You were so nervous. It's not a surprise that your voice was shaky. And maybe that's what gave her that opinion. But what really hurt, like, even if there was some truth to it, what really hurt was that she said that to me. And, my opinion of myself was impacted by that. And for a long time, I did not want to sing in public again because she said that. So, where does this lead me now that I am significantly older? Um, you know, does that still bring back memories? Yes, it does. Does it hurt me still? I want to tell you, no, it doesn't. And I'm so proud of that because it's not something that went away fast, but because of the healing that I've done, I no longer look at it the same way. And I also have developed some compassion for her because I remember way back when I knew her. She really, like, that was her dream, was to become a singer, a pop singer. And I think that she did not like that other people were wanting to listen to my singing. And when you're really young, I think that children, they don't know how to deal with negative emotions. And I'm sure she was feeling some negative emotions, seeing that it wasn't her gaining a lot of attention for singing, and it was me. And so I can kind of feel some compassion for what she went through and her reaction to it. I just wish she hadn't been so cruel because it really did impact me for a really long time. But luckily, over time, it's not like I'm angry about it. I just kind of accept that that was her reaction. Another thing that I've done that really helps me to let go is a little bit funny. At least it is to me. I, because of my perfectionism, I tend to be, because of how I was raised, really expecting perfection or pushing myself to the point of exhaustion. And whenever I do that, I sense my body seize up. Like I literally feel the stress making me seize up. I also feel nauseous. I get migraines. With the migraines, it's been really hard. But I realize, you know what? Self improvement and getting rid of this limiting belief, it doesn't always have to be so damn serious. Pardon my language. It doesn't have to be so serious all the time. And when I even apply the perfectionism sometimes to getting better mentally and emotionally and applying the growth mindset, and I realized this is ridiculous. Like, why do you have to make life so hard? So instead, I started using humor to get myself out of my limiting beliefs. And this particular story, I've healed with humor. And I love to do that now because I get to feel free. I get to let go of that perfectionism and say, you know what? I choose something different for myself. I choose to be light and airy about this. I choose to find a way to lighten the mental and emotional load that this prior experience had for me. And in that spirit, here comes the sing along. I am going to flip the script and say to myself, guess what? If I sound like a goat, let's model the person that, I'm not the only person who's ever been accused of sounding like a billy goat. I'm sure there's plenty of singers out there who often sound like a billy goat, but that is not something that holds singers back. Let's think of one of the greatest singers of all time. I'm a fan of hers, but at the same time, the reason why I'm choosing her is because some listeners say that she sounds like a billy goat. And you know what? I don't think she cares because she's laughing her way to the bank. We all know that she has a massive amount of, multi-million records sold, millions of dollars in the bank, and she is none other than the lead singer of Fleetwood Mac. But before we sing, I would be remiss as a writer if I didn't pause for just a moment to admire Stevie Nicks' songwriting mastery. I chose this song because not only is it beloved, but it grapples directly with what it means to have a dream and how the passage of time affects us, how it can drain away and deplete our self belief. And I believe that at the time she wrote this, Stevie was going through a particularly difficult time in her life when she was really trying to make it as a singer songwriter. And as everyone knows, it takes a really long time to make it, to get that big break. And then, what happens during that time? Well, doubt creeps in. Doubt creeps in the more time passes. You start worrying your time's running out. You start worrying you're too late, that you won't make your dreams come true in time. And I just love how authentic and raw her lyrics are. I love how beautifully Stevie captures this really universal feeling. And I feel that same fear when I think about how much time has passed in my life devoted to legal work, while my creative work, my creative writing, music, and artwork, it's really disappeared from my life for far too long. But the inner child in me, it's held on to that hope that clearly Stevie had to persist and become who she wanted to be, who she dreamed of becoming. So I'm singing this song today because I believe so strongly in Stevie's message. Ultimately, we all undergo this change in identity in our lives. There's who we are now, who we want to be, who we dream of becoming. And we are all afraid of time running out, of a landslide bringing us down. But we can also ask, as she invites us to do, can the child within my heart rise above? The answer, I think, is yes. Yes, we can. I believe that all of us can. We are older, but we are also wiser now. And the child in our hearts can rise. It is not too late. So let's sing this together and let's rise together. I hope you'll join me. And thank you so much for listening.
I took my love, took it down, climbed a mountain and I turned around, and I saw my reflection in the snow-covered hills, till the landslide brought me down. Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love? Can the child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my life? Ooh. Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Yes, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Yes, I'm getting older too. So take my love, take it down, climb a mountain and turn around. If you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, will the landslide bring it down? If you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, will the landslide bring it down? Will the landslide bring it down?
The authentic self in me honors and respects the authentic self in each of you. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel, and also sign up for my free newsletter, Victus Mindset and Meditation, Synergy of Science and Self, at marisavictus.substack.com. Until next time, friends, have a great day.